If you were to consider Game of the Year for 2010, what would come to mind? Mass Effect 2? Assassin's Creed? Frogger? If you answered Fallout, then you would be correct. Fallout is one of those gems that sits on your hard drive for a couple of weeks, but stays in your mind for days. Now, Fallout did have a number of follow-ups, such as Fallout 1, Fallout New Mexico, and Fallen All Over. But today we'll be focusing on the original. Fallout is an RPG where you start by creating your character, assigning different skills, such as pancake making, and once you have finished creating your character, you will be assigned a set character that goes by the name of the Vault Dweller. Ironic, because the Vault Dweller spends most of his or her time on the surface. At least, that's what I read in the manual anyway, so I can only assume that the amount of time you spend out of the vault is more of a bug by the developers. So you, the Vault Dweller, go about your usual day-to-day activities, such as going down to the shops, attending your local church, and vacuuming your house, until one day you're interrupted by a guy who has installed cameras in your house and is spying on you.
Know that Seth and I will be watching you.
Because this is an RPG, there is plenty of different trading on offer, but none of the NPCs will actually sell you anything. This is probably not a problem, but I'm not sure how someone can actually enjoy the game's soundtrack while they are accessing their inventory. So I'm not sure why this was actually part of the game, as there is only one quest available anyway, which is okay, but I found myself having to constantly start over, because of how similar the menu music is to that of the music I hear next door. Fallout plays very similar to Modern Warfare 2, in that they're both games, they both are RPGs, and both sequels to previous titles. I think these similarities may confuse new players who aren't familiar with either of these games, but I think this is an issue that the developers should be addressing themselves in the future, just so people know what games they are getting. Because I've heard of people who have purchased Fallout thinking it was Modern Warfare 2 because of the similarities that I've mentioned. One issue I had was that the combat was very unbalanced. Because the game is on an isometric view, it often requires you to validate it and send it letters of appreciation, so it knows that it's doing a good job. I found that once I sent it some roses and a mixtape, it didn't have self-esteem issues after that, and the combat became a little more balanced. But you won't get perfection. Now once this is fixed, the controls are quite simple. You will click on things. Left click, right click, double click, and you will also use the keyboard occasionally to execute some commands. If you play the roller coaster minigame that's implemented. If you do decide to go with the flight simulator mode, you are required to have a joystick available in order to play. I didn't have a joystick available when I played, but I found plugging a banana in and using that as a controller worked just as well. If you remember the main quest in Fallout 4, where you were required to talk to a computer that claimed to be the President of the United States, I will mention that computers are also featured in Fallout. I don't think this was very well thought out, though, because according to Fallout lore, computers didn't actually exist in the events of Fallout, and though I can appreciate they did in Fallout 3 and Fallout 7, this doesn't actually line up with the story. So if you are a purist, it may take you a few weeks to deal with the emotions that come. It may take you a few weeks to deal with the emotions that you may experience because of this. But rest assured, a patch has been recently released to deal with this issue. Overall, I think Fallout is worth your purchase, but if you take up astronomy, then you may not be able to afford it. If you thought this review was helpful, please consider subscribing for more informative reviews in the future.
You're either real stupid or a real stupid spy. Doesn't matter, because now Izzo's gonna make you real dead. Wouldn't you like to know? You don't need to concern yourself with that.